on. So today, we're going to decode that overwhelming funding environment and really transform it into a clear, actionable strategic playbook. We're stepping away from all the chaos and building a direct, logical path to help you scale your vision. To do that, here is our roadmap. We'll start by tackling the wall of noise, then define the actual startup tools at your disposal. After that, we'll build your decision-making framework, navigate the unique 2026 landscape, unpack the founder's strategic playbook, and finally, wrap up with your immediate action plan. So let's kick things off with Section 1, the wall of noise. Before we even think about building a strategy, we need to validate exactly how you're probably feeling right now trying to get your company off the ground. It's just a wall of noise. I mean, when you're constantly hearing about accelerators, incubators, government grants, angel networks, and venture studios, it usually leaves founders feeling completely blasted. It's honestly the default feeling in the startup world today. So if you feel like you're just staring at endless disconnected options without a map, you are definitely not alone. But, we can't just stay stuck in that confusion. Our whole goal in this explainer is to cut straight through that noise and replace it with a focused, highly effective strategy. Success today means knowing exactly how to pick the right resource for the specific stage your company is at, and more importantly, understanding how to actually leverage it for tangible growth. Moving right along to Section 2, defining the startup tools. Okay, before you choose a path, you absolutely must understand what the vehicles actually are. Let's look at the classic difference between an accelerator and an incubator. Think of an accelerator as a fast-paced boot camp. It's usually 3 or 4 months designed purely for speed and scaling an idea that already exists, usually ending in a big pitch day. On the flip side, an incubator is a much slower, more open-ended environment. It's really focused on hatching an idea from scratch. They serve entirely different stages of your startup's lifecycle. The crucial thing here is understanding the distinct trade-offs of each tool. Accelerators give you seed capital and a great network, but they're going to demand around 3 to 8% of your equity. Incubators might just charge you fees without taking a slice of your company. Venture studios, they'll actually embed their own engineers and marketers right into your team, but in exchange, they're taking a much larger equity stake. And then, of course, you have grants. These are the magic words, non-dilutive funding. You get the capital to support your R&D, and you keep 100% of your ownership. Knowing exactly what you're sacrificing for growth is the absolute foundation of your strategy. But hey, never underestimate the human element in all of this. Did you know mentored founders actually achieve 3 times better outcomes? It's wild. Investor networks and accelerators provide what we call smart capital. It's not just a check, it's their expert advice, their massive Rolodex of connections, and their credibility transferring directly to you. Honestly, this is often the most valuable part of the entire exchange. All right, on to Section 3, the decision-making framework. I want you to actively play along with this thought experiment right now. Think about your startup today. What is your single undeniable need? Is it just raw cash to keep the lights on and survive? Is it expert guidance because you're totally stuck on product development? Or is it the network you need to reach those crucial first major customers? You really have to identify that one critical bottleneck, because your answer dictates your path entirely. This is the priority matrix. Every single day, you are weighing capital, network, and mentorship against your willingness to part with your equity. If expert guidance is your absolute top priority, then trading a little equity for a top-tier accelerator makes total sense. But if you fiercely need to protect your equity and simply need cash to fund some heavy research, well, you should be hunting exclusively for non-dilutive government grants. Your number one need dictates the tool. And remember, actually, scratch that. It's crucial to remember. This answer might completely change in 6 months. That brings us to Section 4, navigating the 2026 landscape. 60%. Let that sink in. A staggering 60% of Y Combinator companies this year are expected to be AI-focused. This single statistic is a massive flashing sign showing exactly where the gravity of the market is pulling right now. We are seeing these major specialized accelerators popping up exclusively to fund and support AI companies. So what does this mean for you? Well, because the generalist programs are leaning so heavily into AI, you must be incredibly targeted. If you're an AI founder, you're looking at places like Excel and Google Atoms. But if you aren't building the next big AI model, you need vertical-specific programs. If you're in health, look at Halcyon. If you're specifically in mental health, look at SeedSpot. You have to find those niche programs that are explicitly searching for your exact type of solution. Okay, let's level up with Section 5, the Founder's Strategic Playbook. This is where it gets really fun. It's fascinating how we can elevate those foundational choices into pro-level advanced tactics. You can dramatically extend your runway using what we call the stacking strategy. Basically, you don't just pick one route. You pair an equity-based accelerator, which gets you the network and that vital seed money, with massive, non-dilutive resources. For example, imagine securing $150,000 in Azure and OpenAI credits from Microsoft, and then stacking that with $200,000 in cloud credits from Google. You're literally stacking these resources to artificially inflate your runway without giving up a single extra percentage of your company. It's brilliant. And that brings us to an incredible pro move, all about timing. If you time your VC pitch right after announcing a major grant win, let's say something like the Braze Tech for an Equitable Future grant, you are leveraging that external stamp of approval. Think about it. A major grant tells venture capitalists that a serious, rigorous organization has already vetted your idea and put money behind it. You walk into that pitch room with massive leverage to negotiate a vastly superior valuation. Now, we've got to talk about the traps where this playbook can go completely wrong. Fatal flaw number 1. Chasing the brand name. Please beware of chasing a shiny logo just to slap it on your startup's website. You have to verify if the program actually offers structural support for your specific industry. We see founders get in, give up a chunk of equity, and then just suffer through incredibly generic mentorship and terrible post-program support. Don't let vanity drive your strategy. And then there is fatal flaw number 2, the grant timeline trap. Look, government and foundational money moves at a snail's pace. It just does. Don't let slow grant payouts kill your startup because the cash finally arrives 3 months after you've emptied your bank account. The solution here is to build a blended capital stack. Mix in venture debt or revenue-based financing to bridge that cash gap and keep the lights on while you wait. Simply hoping the check arrives in time is not a funding strategy. A blended capital stack is. Finally, let's bring it all home with Section 6, your immediate action plan. Let's wrap up this explainer by giving you some hyper-specific marching orders. I really want you to follow these 3 precise steps to stop endlessly reading blog posts and start taking strategic control of your future. Step 1, open a doc and be brutally honest with yourself. Write down your number 1 undeniable need for the next quarter. Step 2, based entirely on that need, create a custom shortlist of just 3 to 5 laser-focused programs. And step 3, reach out to an alumnus. And I'm telling you, step 3 is literally the ultimate cheat code. Reach out directly to program alumni to hear about their actual experience. Send a quick DM, ask for just 15 minutes of their time. This is exactly how you bypass the polished marketing copy and get the absolute unvarnished truth. Ask them bluntly, did the program actually help you raise your next round? Was the mentorship real or was it just fluff? So I want to leave you with this final critical thought. Which specific tool are you going to leverage today to cut through the noise and scale your vision? Armed with this matrix and this playbook, what is the single most important move you will make right now to transform your startup's trajectory? Don't let the ecosystem overwhelm you. Choose your tool, make your move, and go build something amazing.
Hello. Welcome to Startup Founder Best Practices. Glad to have you here. I hope that introductory video was interesting to you. I think it does a great job on capturing how the startup ecosystem work, and I can definitely vouch that I follow a lot of stuff in there, stacking those Azure credits, and yeah, it's just really amazing. Another thing, I'm not sure if I don't remember if the video mentioned it. I actually leverage corporate innovation programs as well, because they gave you money and did take any equity. So that was a pretty neat approach too. So there's a lot of things in the startup ecosystem, but just like I just came from an in-person networking event, so I apologize for those of you who may have jumped on the local online networking if I'm not being there. But just out there and meeting founders, meeting ecosystem people that have programs for founders, and meeting people that developers, cybersecurity people, yeah, and so I need some new glasses. I even uh, met a young lady that's been in our program, and she's sells eyewear. So yeah, it's just very fruitful and beneficial to be able to network with people, that are launching things, building things, selling things, and really really educational. And so that's why we try to we do the online networking every Thursday. So if there's not something happening in your area, at least you can hop on and maybe chat with a few founders and kind of get the lay of the land and learn something. So yeah, that's what's exciting to me, because you just never know who you're going to meet and out there in the ecosystem. So it's always you never know what information you're going to find. There's folks want to know how to do business with the government. Just almost anything. It's just really amazing. We have founders that were in the process of being acquired. There's just so many different things so that you can learn that you don't see in textbooks, and talk to real people that's actually doing stuff. So I just encourage people to try to participate in these different events to kind of help them move forward. And that's what we're here about on the Startup Founder Best Practices every Thursday. And if you would like to be a guest and share what you're doing with your startup, just feel free to reach out. Be glad to have you on. And that's the way people learn. You can share what you've learned, and you can share, what you want to learn. And, we definitely have a lot of experience and connections to kind of help you move forward. So last week we had a interesting deal there. Sam asked some interesting questions, kind of threw me off a little bit there. So I kind of want to address that because there are a lot of pitfalls, in being a startup founder, especially trying to leverage AI in your startup. And let me share my screen here. So just to remind everybody, Sam, he asked about, and it was a really good question. Let's see if I can blow it up a little bit. Let's see here. Let's see if we can blow it up. Nope, going the wrong way there. Yeah, he was asking about what are the biggest, unexpected hurdles that founders face within an AI-powered startup. And there are a lot of things going on in that question. And building an AI startup, and we were even talking about this in the networking session, these different things that you can become challenged with. So I'll just to kind of I created a video based on this question. So if you're using AI and you want to know what some of the pitfalls you can run into with your company, and so I'm going to go ahead and share that with you. Let's see, can we get it? And I think I still have.
Welcome to The Explainer. So let's dive right in and unpack the dangerous solutions that early-stage founders face when they start integrating AI into their startups. Look, we're moving through an era where AI tools are just incredibly accessible, right? But based on some really fascinating source materials we've reviewed, this accessibility has actually created a massive blind spot. Today, we're going to explore why founders are getting caught in a trap of their very own making. We'll look at the hidden economic and technical costs of AI, the illusion of what we call fake progress, and the heavy, completely unexpected burden of hybrid management. Ultimately, we're going to see how you can break out of this vicious cycle by building a true founder operating system. Now, I want to start with a really tough question that directly addresses founder anxiety. Because, let's be honest, entrepreneurship is terrifying. Building a real business requires difficult, awkward customer conversations. It means facing rejection and testing hypotheses that might just totally fail. And here's the thing, AI makes it incredibly easy to hide from that hard work. It gives you this comforting illusion of momentum. You feel like you're building a business because you're busy generating code or writing landing page copy. But you might actually just be using AI to avoid the terrifying reality of market validation. It's a subtle shift, but it's absolutely crucial. It defines whether you're actually moving forward or literally just spinning your wheels.
So, let's get into our first section. The AI co-founder illusion and shattering the anthropomorphic myth.
We hear these hype phrases constantly out in the startup ecosystem. People are so eager to call an AI the ultimate co-founder or, an Ivy League educated genius who never sleeps. And yeah, it sounds incredibly compelling in a headline. But anthropomorphizing AI like this sets dangerously unrealistic expectations for solo founders. The real problem with calling an AI a genius is that it kind of makes us lazy. Think about it. When you expect to be working with a peer, you naturally let your guard down. You abdicate your responsibility for quality control because you just falsely assume the AI knows best. You assume it possesses human judgment, which, let me be clear, it absolutely does not. AI is not an infallible genius. It's a powerful but fundamentally fallible system that demands your constant evaluation and your human accountability. The myth tells you that you can just hand off your complex strategic problems to this magic co-founder. But the reality? AI assistants frequently fail if users are vague. Imagine simply telling an AI agent to remember stuff or manage my contacts without explicitly configuring its skills, its access limitations, and giving it precise instructions. That lack of strict context leads to absolute disaster. You're not hiring a prodigy here. You're programming a system that relies entirely on the parameters you establish. Which brings us to Section 2, the trap of fake progress and why activity does not equal evidence. This is honestly one of the most significant behavioral hurdles founders face right now, substituting rapid, AI-generated activity for actual customer evidence. Because AI can generate content and automate tasks with literally zero friction, founders easily fall into the trap of automating before validating. Listen, you could spend an entire week building intricate workflows to generate a flawless 100-page business plan, a stunning pitch deck, and a really complex financial model. But if none of that documentation is grounded in even a single real customer conversation, it's entirely meaningless. You're doing a lot of work, sure, but you're just hiding inside fake progress to avoid the hard truth of the market. So you really have to ask yourself, are you seeking reassurance or are you actually testing assumptions? Fake progress is asking a language model if your startup idea is good and feeling this massive rush of validation when it tells you yes. That's just seeking comforting outputs. Real progress, on the other hand, is identifying the absolutely riskiest assumption in your business model and then using AI to help you design a rigorous test to put that assumption in front of real, breathing humans. The tool shouldn't be used to give you a pat on the back. It needs to be leveraged to relentlessly pressure test your reality.
Okay, let's move to Section 3, the hybrid management burden. Because guess what? You aren't escaping management.
While AI absolutely helps close the team gap for solo or non-technical founders, it creates a massive, totally unexpected second-order implication. You might think having a whole suite of AI agents means you completely escape traditional management headaches. Well, actually, scratch that. The reality is, you are now the manager of a complex, hybrid human-AI organization, and you have to master entirely new responsibilities. You've got to establish explicit quality standards, securely control access permissions, write painstakingly clear instructions, and critically determine which high-level strategic tasks absolutely must remain human-led. The management burden didn't magically disappear. It just changed shape and shifted directly onto your shoulders.
Let's consider the profound shift in startup economics here. AI does not provide free labor, and it certainly doesn't eliminate costs. It simply shifts your financial and operational burden. Yeah, you might save on traditional salaries and HR training, but the hidden technical costs, they explode. You are now solely responsible for dozens of software subscriptions, complex API integrations, data management, and some pretty serious security overhead. Most importantly, the time you used to spend doing a task manually is now spent doing intensive quality assurance and founder review on the AI's output. You're basically trading raw execution time for demanding technical management and QA time. Next up is Section 4, Governance and Autonomy Risks, or the danger of telling AI to just do it. Founders so often mistakenly assume that fully autonomous set-and-forget agents are always the ultimate goal. The broader tech ecosystem loves to sell this dream of an AI seamlessly running your entire business in the background while you sleep on a beach somewhere. But in practice, higher AI autonomy drastically increases your risk profile. When you unleash a fallible system on your inbox or your CRM without explicit skills and really rigid access boundaries, the system frequently fails. And when it does, the fallout and the liability are entirely your responsibility. The consequences of unmanaged autonomy are severe, and they happen fast. Without strict data access limits and audit logs, a simple AI hallucination can instantly ruin a crucial client relationship. You risk intellectual property leaks by carelessly feeding proprietary company data into open training models. You're looking at risks like incorrect database updates, unauthorized and inappropriate communications sent completely on your behalf, and the catastrophic mishandling of sensitive customer data. To have a safe organizational system, you absolutely must build in strict permission boundaries and mandatory human-in-the-loop approval checkpoints before any permanent brand-destroying action can be taken. Moving on to Section 5, the synthetic discovery trap, the very real limits of artificial empathy. Think about this. If every single founder in your target market has access to the exact same highly capable AI agents, then execution is completely commoditized. So you really have to ask yourself, what is the human advantage? What makes your startup different if the code, the marketing copy, and the workflows are all generated by the exact same neural network? As AI gets increasingly better at drafting interview questions and analyzing call transcripts, a very dangerous new threat emerges, which is synthetic customer discovery. Look, AI is truly incredible at organizing evidence, summarizing massive transcripts, and identifying broad textual patterns. It's a game changer for that. But humans must remain completely responsible for understanding the customer. AI cannot replace listening to a frustrated user, observing real physical behavior, recognizing deep emotional nuance, and building lived trust. Empathy simply cannot be outsourced to a server farm. If you use AI as a substitute for actual human connection, your business is going to lack the profound, nuanced understanding that forms literally the only real competitive moat you have left in an automated world. Finally, Section 6, the Founder Operating System. Moving from random prompts to evidence loops. The ultimate goal is not to do the wrong work faster. We really need to shift from just randomly asking an AI for marketing copy to building a true evidence-driven founder operating system. This kind of system acts as a structured, relentless accountability partner. It's a systematic forcing function designed specifically to prevent you from hiding inside fake progress. It forces you to face market realities and measure actual human behavior, rather than just spinning your wheels generating comforting outputs in a vacuum. Let's walk through the minimum viable learning loop of this operating system. Step 1, identify your riskiest assumption. Step 2, design the smallest useful test. Step 3, collect real human evidence. Step 4, use AI to heavily analyze the patterns in that data set. And finally, Step 5, the decide phase. Notice heavily where the AI lives in this loop. The AI never makes the persevere or pivot decision. Organizing the data is the machine's job. But interpreting the risk, maintaining the human connection, and making the final strategic decision, that is the inescapable responsibility of the human founder. I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up this explainer. Take a close look at your own setup right now. Is your AI a collection of random tools masking fake progress, allowing you to avoid difficult customer conversations? Or is it a disciplined operating system accelerating real learning? To win in this environment, you've got to realize that AI is simply a component of an evidence-driven system. What truly builds a lasting business isn't the perfect prompt, it's your human discipline to face reality.
Cool. That's pretty neat information. Yeah, so you see there are lots and lots of traps that you as a founder can get yourself in using AI. So just be aware of that, but don't be afraid of it. So that's what I want to kind of emphasize here is just yeah, that's what you have founder networks for. that's what you have mentors for. Folks got different expertise, so don't be afraid of it, but just realize there's no free lunch in any of this stuff. So yeah, so we're going to follow on from last week and talk about this weekly AI founder rhythm. And basically, it's just how you turn activity into evidence. But it's just like it's basically a founder operating system. You run through these processes regularly, and so that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. And feel free, you all, to ask questions. It doesn't have to be about the topic. If just anything about being a founder, glad to put my 2 cents in there. And as you can see, level 3 certified lean stack coach, and I'll definitely explain what that lean stack is. But I had to, been working with founders directly with the Lean Stack program, since I think we partnered with Ash back in 2022. Once I realized he had a platform, we've been using this Lean Canvas, for about 13 years, but I didn't realize he had a training program, but it's a training program, but it's just learning the process of building a startup, and how do you do it. And so and what's neat about that idea is it stops you from doing random prompting. So a lot of the concepts are slightly hard to grasp, but I think once you get the big picture of what's going on, and and your brain gets wrapped around the framework, you can move forward. But there's one neat thing about the AI: when you look at a framework, it can explain it to you, and it can explain the playbooks to you. So it can, in a way that you can understand it. So level 3 means there's a business model design playbook, demand validation playbook, and a growth playbook. And it's based on Ash's book, Running Lean. And so you can definitely, if you want to see it in print, that's one way to do it. But as you know, everything's going to AI now. So Ash just encapsulate that into a product called Lean Spark. And so that's his approach to working with founders, and it's actually working really good for him as well. But there's still a need for coaches, mentors, and even though it's like an AI co-founder, it's still a big need to interact with founders and share stuff. So our program is called the Founders Insight Program here at the Kokura Institute, and we're here in Pensacola, but we work with founders all over the world and enjoy every minute of it, either through our partners, our previous partners, but like you see here at the Lean Stack, Black Innovation Leaders of Florida, Black Innovation Alliance, Goody Nation, participated in all these programs and make startups. I think a couple of years ago did the leadership fellowship with them. Pitch Bob, I ran into him on LinkedIn, and so I have to see what else is going on with them these days. Coda has been through a lot of changes. We've been leveraging that as well, and so we partner with them. I have to see if their startup program has changed because they got bought by Grammarly. And then now they're part of what do you call the Superhuman. So it's a really neat situation, and we love startup science So Greg Shepard, he's an expert at building and selling startups, and so we partnered with them. I think about the same time, 2022. So we've been using their program as well. And the neat thing about that is it's like a whole startup ecosystem in a box. Everything you need is right in there. So if you're not using that, you're really missing out. So get in our Founders Insight program. Yeah, and we appreciate all our sponsors and some other partners on here. Yeah, it's just amazing at the number of organizations, from banks to utilities to nonprofits to lawyers, chambers, hospitals, other organizations, small business development centers that are interested in helping founders. And so we partner with a bunch of them. And so these folks have sponsored training programs. They've sponsored our Founders Innovation Summit. It's pretty amazing. And even a big shout out to the Gulf Coast Minority Chamber of Commerce. We partner with them to host our Founder Innovation Summit. So it's just a lot of good folks out there that's trying to help you out. So we're here. Been here almost every Thursday night since September of 20. I think we missed one. We started August 13th in 2020, and we've only missed one scheduled event since then, and we do about 48 a year. So 6 years, 6 times 50, 300. So we're approaching. We did at least 260 or 70 consecutive events. So we here, and it's all about helping you understand how to leverage the ecosystem, and the business model is the key, and that's what the Lean Stack program is all about: is designing scalable business models, doing demand validation, and understanding how to do growth to get the product market fit. So that's what we do. That's what we're here for. And the reason for that is because if you understand the stuff on this page, you literally unlock all the resources out in the startup ecosystem. You learn how to do this. You learn how to fill out applications to get in pitch competition. You learn how to fill out applications to get into programs, startup programs that give you money. You learn how to articulate what you do, and you get into corporate programs that give you free software, free services, or discounted services. It's literally the key to unlocking the door to resources. Until you can speak the language of business, and that's what's so important about the Lean Canvas, is it's the stuff you have to communicate on almost any application, even for a bank loan. It's like, it's just literally that something, a one-page business plan can, with 9 blocks in it, could be so powerful. But it's literally the information banks want to know, it's information startup organizations want to know, it's the information that investors want to know. So if you can communicate your business model, and notice I didn't say communicate your product, you communicate your business model. And the number one mistake all of us make is we get out pitching our product or service. And that you do that when you're trying to sell, but when you're trying to get help to grow your thing, it's pretty interesting. And so it's pretty neat. And so there's the key thing. I hadn't talked about this chart in quite a while, but all it is it's a process. It's a a phase, step by step you go through when you building a startup. And this is from the Startup Commons. They that That's an open source thing about everything to do about building a startup. You got a YouTube channel. They got all the training about how this whole process here. And they start off with innovation, making sure you know what innovation is. So if you go to YouTube and look up Startup Commons, and they have a whole series of training that you can start understanding these phases you go through. And notice like when you launch your business, it's way over here, but look at all this stuff before you launch your business. And that's how the startup ecosystem works. You get help, starting from day one and all the way to you do an exit over on this end. So just remember all the things you hear about business. Oh, I need money to open up. I need this. I need that. You just need to follow the process and go from there. And this is the process that the startup sciences use from vision to exit. So this program is totally about how you go from an idea or vision to an exit. And what to do in each one of these phases to get to the next phase. And what Greg Shepard says clearly, if you in this phase, you shouldn't be trying to do stuff in these phases up here, but most people are trying to do stuff in the wrong phase and spending money where they shouldn't be spending it, and they end up like for example, go to markets phase. A lot of people think that's when you need to go out and hire people, but you don't hire people until you finish your standardization of your processes. So when you hire them, they know what to do. So just remember, it's a sequence of things. You don't go out getting business cards. You may want to, but there's a lot of things people do at this stage that they shouldn't even be doing. And it's just like this here. If you just in ideating of trying to figure out what you want to do, what do you need business cards for? What do you need to start your company? What do you need to go file registration for your company for? But you still can get help. You still can get money, which some people find that hard to believe, but I can tell you it's true. Yeah. And so that's what I want to make sure. And so it's all of lean stack. This is continuous innovation. And we'll talk a little bit more about that and what continuous innovation is. But this is these little icons here are representing business models. So the process, this is literally the lean stack process. You start off with a big idea, and you put that out of your head onto one sheet of paper with 9 blocks on it. And these 9 blocks are stuff like customer segments, problems, what they're currently using, solution, metrics, unique value proposition, unfair advantage, revenue model, cost, marketing channels, and all that kind of stuff. So that's what here. But one thing we do with our founders, we before we even you can do this before you even fill out the canvas. You can fill out the canvas, but what we do is based on whatever this business idea is, and industry this business idea is in, we have the AI go out and look for all the stakeholders in that industry and all the pain points they have, all the problems they have. So when whatever industry you're in, you start off with knowing the problems of that industry, because your business idea is going to be to solve some of those problems. So, and you don't want to be solving problems in a vacuum. You may be missing out on an opportunity. So I start with where we work with founders, knowing the industry and all the stakeholders and what challenges they're having. And then next we go here, but there's some other things we do even before we get here, but we also explore how do you make money what are the different ways you can make money solving those pain points. We take the top 3 of those ways, and then we use that for this big idea canvas here. And so there are a lot of different potential customer segments or product variations. So we do at least 5 variations based on the customer segment or the variant of your product or service. And it doesn't matter what the product or service is. It doesn't have to be software. It doesn't have to be hardware. It could be a service, whatever. You still have different people that want to buy your product, and they may buy it for a different reason. So like this customer segment may have a particular problem. This customer segment here may have a particular problem, and so on and so forth. And so you look at all the different customer segments, but the first thing you should notice on this chart here is you start off with 5 customer segments. By the time you get the product market fit, you're focusing on 1 customer segment. So you're literally trying to figure out through this process, you're trying to figure out which customer segment you're going to get the most traction with. Because if like Mustafa was at the networking event earlier, he's in marketing. You can't market to all these different customer segments. It's too expensive. So you have to figure out which customer segment to get started with. And so the lean stack takes, have you stress test first each customer segment for desirability. And that desirability is based on, is the problem you solving big enough to get the customer to switch from what they're already using to what you have? It needs to be 3x to 10x better. In order, you can't, 1x better doesn't require much innovation, but 3x better than something already out there, it requires innovation. That's why they call this thing continuous innovation, because psychologically, I'm using a certain software now, a certain product now, and you want me to switch, you got to have a really good business proposition to cause me to want to switch from what I'm already using to what you're building. And this is the thing people really forget. They say, my product, there's nothing like my product on the market. Doesn't matter. How are you going to get them to switch from what they're currently using to what you have? And that's what this desirability test is all about. And so when we're looking at the AI, here you're building your business model. So it's all based on the foundation of the problems of that industry and understanding the different customer segments and understanding what it's going to take them to switch. And so over here, you may be doing marketing out here, but this marketing is based on all this foundational stuff here. So if you prompting in the AI, just, I want to get a marketing plan, and you haven't did all of this stuff here, that's what a framework does for you. It gives you, it's like foundation, of a house. You can't do all this other stuff until you get the foundation. And there's I would say most people probably just go out there and build something and see if it'll sell. But if you don't have a whole lot of money, that's why they call this, lean stack, lean startup methodology. Lean stack, all that means is just a stack of tools that you use to get from these 5 customer segments down to 1 customer. It's a stack of tools, a stress test for desirability, a stress test for viability. The viability test is dealing with your revenue model and your metrics. And what's not seen here is what's your goal. You have a goal 3 years annual recurring revenue, and you work backwards to see how many customers you have to get in your sales funnel each month in order to meet your goal in 3 years. And you have a scale, and this is where you put your scale factor of your business. So if you want to scale at 3x, you put a scale factor 3x and work backwards. It'll tell you how many people you have to get in your sales funnel each of the 36 months. But if you're doing 10x, it's a slower growth thing, and so it'll tell you how many people you have to get in your sales funnel each month. But when you talk about scalable business, that's really where you design the scalability into your business. And so that's a real simple test that you could almost do in your head. So when you're out there pitching, that's what the judges and the investors are looking at. When you tell them, I got this product, this product, and I'm charging $50 a month, $100 a month, $500 a month, and they just do the calculation. If your goal is 5 million, 10 million, they divide that annual revenue for that customer segment, into that, they take your sales for a customer per year and the amount of money you want to make and just the amount of money you want to make in 3 years and divided by the cost of your product or service. And that tells you how many customers you have to have in 3 years. And then if you're growing at a 10x rate, you start off slow with a few customers, then you scale as you go along the 3 years. That's what that's about. And then the feasibility test is about your cost, your solution. And so this is the time you look at your solution. But your desirability test is actually a 30-second to 60-second elevator pitch. And so have you ever heard of an elevator pitch that doesn't have your solution, talk about your solution? So this customer segment, problems they have, what they're currently using, and your unique value unique value proposition. So it doesn't include your solution. So all you're trying to do is see if you're solving a big enough problem that requires innovation. So and once you do all this stress testing, so there's a tool for desirability testing, there's a tool for viability. This tool is called the widen out elevator pitch. This tool is called the traction roadmap. And you also use the traction roadmap to do your feasibility test. And so that's 3 tools right there. The lean canvas is a tool, lean stack, and then demand validation. You got more tools over here. So the interesting thing about so this says a customer problem fit. So that's a milestone. So you want to make sure that you're solving the right problem, and this is why you do demand validation. And so just think about what I'm saying when I'm saying these tools. So in the AI world, you're going to have skills. You're going to have to go out and do this stuff, but you're going to have skills if you want to model it and simulate it. So in the demand validation, the output, let me just tell you what the output of the demand validation is. Once you do demand validation, you have the customer forces for all these customer segments, that allow, and customer forces, that is what's going to require to get the customer to switch from what they're currently using to what you're building. That's the purpose of the customer forces. And that's that's what ends up in your marketing material, your landing page, those customer forces, because you're trying to entice somebody to switch from what they're using. So that's what the customer forces are all about. So if you go out there marketing and you don't even know what the customer forces are to get somebody to switch from what they have to what you're building, that's a problem. And then the second output of demand validation is in this customer problem fit thing is you want to know what job do these customers, are they trying to do with your software, service, hardware, whatever? What job are you fulfilling for them? What are they using your product or service to accomplish? That's the jobs to be done. So that's another thing you get out of this problem solution fit thing as a part of demand validation. And the next thing you get out of it is a hiring and firing criteria. And what that means, so they're using something, product or service, so you got to get them to fire that product or service and hire your product or service to get the work done. So you get that, you get that information too. And so with that information, well, let me just tell you how you do demand validation. Then, so I just wanted to make sure you understand what it is. So the way you get this information is you go out and interview people, 10 to 15 people who have recently purchased something similar to what you're building, like in the last 90 days. You want to interview 10 to 15 people who purchased a similar product to what you're building, and the reason why you want to do something in the last 90 days because they remember what they were using and what triggered them to switch to what they purchased. So you see, you're getting the customer forces. You want to know what products did they try. What did they consider? Which one did they chose? And all this is a set of 9 questions that are tailored to what product or service you're building. And so these 9 questions, when you ask these 9 questions, it generates the information required that you can feed the audio from the interviews to the customer forces tool, and it generates the customer forces, the jobs to be done, and the hiring and firing criteria. And then you take that information and you use it to do solution design. And solution design is, this 5 Ps, but it's all comes from this information from your problem, customer problem fit. And so if you don't do the demand validation, you're not going to know how to package your solution. Okay, and so once you get the solution design, and that just means that 5P matrix, and this filling that out in this case. And then once you have that, then that's when it's time to do your sales pitch. And so you're trying to reach this problem solution fit. So you go up, you develop a sales pitch, but in Lean Startup it's called a Mafia offer. And basically you want to, and this is before you build anything. And so you're selling it before you build it. You see how many orders you can get, how many commitments you can get. And if you get financial commitments, that means you're building something that somebody wants. So you're validating the demand for whatever your business thing is. And so what I've seen over the past 5 or 6 years is some folks are building stuff and not able to sell it because they don't understand the customer forces. They don't know if they're solving the solution is solving the right problem. And these are some fantastic problems, perfectly engineered, but that's kind of what the challenge is. Now, the people who have resources, money, they can go out and build stuff as much as they want and see if it sells or not. But if you don't have that kind of money, you can't do that. But now that AI has made it so easy to build, it's actually even more important to do this demand validation, in order to move forward. And so when you're using AI without its stuff, so the first thing we did before all these AI skills and all this stuff. So like I took all of these processes and stuff here, and I built the AI prompt that simulates going through all these processes through the from business model design, demand validation, and marketing strategy. So it goes in the same order, and as the AI collects the information on these things, it's ready to do to the next step and the next step, because it has the foundation of information, and it's constrained to this lean canvas and this whole process. It's a framework. And so, and what I tell people when I work for the government, we develop technology for weapons, robots, you name it. We develop technology for a lot of different things. But multi-million-dollar programs never been done before. So we had this method here is called the entrepreneur method, but we followed the R&D method, where we just went through all these different stages and followed the process, and so we can justify why we did everything. So guess what? And when you're leveraging AI, you have to have evidence to get through all these things. It can't be on your gut feeling. Yeah, this solution is excellent. People will buy it. It doesn't work that way. You have to have evidence, and so we're going to be talking about that as well. So if you want, so you can, when you have a business model and you use AI to simulate that business model, so like what I like about it was that if you didn't understand what the lean canvas was, or if you didn't understand what a desirability was, the AI will simulate it for you, and you can see how the AI writes it, but you still have to, because a lot of stuff is foreign to founders. So that's how we use the AI for that. So we take the results of that simulation, and all it is a prompt that you run in ChatGPT, Claude, and I normally run it at least 5 different language models in deep research mode, and then I take all that information and put it into Notebook LM to let it reflect back to me, and let it synthesize all the information, reflect it back to me, so I can listen to it or interact with it through the. I guess I can. Let's see if I can show you. So this is like. Let's say I had all the results of all that stuff from those AI simulation for the business models and the demand validation and the marketing. And then I would load all that information as sources in Notebook LM, and so Google, if you got a Gmail account, you got a free Notebook LM account, or if you got a paid Google Workspace, you got even more resources there. And I heard this week they're going to add the ability for I don't know which level of subscription it is, that you can, like Notebook LM is going to start doing coding for you and everything. Right now, you can literally take what's in your notebook about your business and use the MCP server, connect it to Google Antigravity, and it will build your application for you. So, but anyway, so in what I was talking about, I like to use AI as a mirror. I like to use AI to help me think about stuff and how to think about stuff. And so that's the way I use it. So one of the ways I do that is, like, here's an audio overview. So I create an audio overview and then listen to people talking about the sources about my business idea. And then I can interrupt. This is like the audio overview, but I can click this, and then it'll allow me to ask questions and have the speakers answer me real time, backwards and forth. And so that's a really neat feature. And I love that feature because I can just ask as many questions I want. What was the top customer segment? Which large language model did the best analysis? Yes. Yeah. So, please articulate my business model story pitch. And what's so neat about doing this thing, you can come over here to, you can get infographics to kind of just, so you can visualize your idea there, but pitch deck. So within that business model design simulation, there is a business model story pitch. So you can literally, in this slide deck, you can literally prompt it to create your slide deck based on the business model story pitch. And so that's what's neat about that. And then the video overviews, of course, that's neat. And reports, you can definitely generate reports. So like on our topic tonight, let's see, I got some infographics, and these are 5 reports that I generated, and so that's actually got some good information in it that I can use. And I noticed I was doing a notebook for something else earlier this week, and I did the data table, and then you open up the data table, and it'll do it. So I've been rambling here, so let me get you, but I just want to let you know that's the process. Now the question is, how do you AI enable this process we were talking about here? So how do you get from an idea all the way to product market fit? And so the interesting fact that I can't remember the time period, but it was at least over the last 10 years, it's still only less than 10% of the startups reach this milestone here. Less than 10% of the startup reach it. So we have all these accelerator programs. We have all these ecosystem people, and so So Tony's saying you can have the greatest product in the world, but no one will buy it if you can't tell them what it is or how how it helps them. Yes, you're 100% right there, Tony. Yeah, and so, but yeah, that's what. So in other words, so this is the process hasn't changed whether you're using AI or not. That's what the point of showing you this. And so I'm going to go ahead and get to the video that sort of talks about this operating model, what you have to do to get through that process. So let me go ahead and get it started since I've been running my mouth so much.
Welcome to this explainer. Let's jump straight in, because today we're going to completely flip the script on how you think about AI in your business. We are moving far away from that random, reactive usage, the kind where you're typing a desperate 3 a.m. question into a chat box, just crossing your fingers for a miracle. Instead, we're going to build a structured, proactive, and truly evidence-based system. We're breaking down what's called the 7-layer AI founder evidence operating model. Just think about the stark contrast in mindsets here. The old way, it's basically saying, I use AI when I need help. That's literally just treating AI like a glorified search engine. But the new way, the mindset the most successful founders are adopting, is saying, I use AI teammates to help me run a disciplined learning system. We absolutely have to stop treating AI as just some neat little tool. It's a dedicated teammate. Honestly, this is the only way to escape that dangerous trap of confusing mere busy work with actual tangible business evidence. So to make this powerful shift, we're going to walk through 6 core stages. First, moving from tools to teammates. Then, roles and real evidence. Third, core skills and methods. Fourth, guardrails, audits, and growth. Fifth, the founder learning loop. And finally, reaching full AI maturity. All right, section 1, from tools to teammates. Let's dive into our first layer by fundamentally redefining exactly what an AI teammate actually is, and more importantly, how it needs to function inside your startup. This brings us to layer 1 of the model, role and mission boundaries. Think of your AI as a newly hired, super capable, but
well, kind of naive intern. You would never look at a brand new intern on day one and just say, hey, go help me with my business, right? That's way too broad. Instead, you've got to give them a very clear, tightly bounded mission before handing over any tools or access. You have to give the AI a highly specific job description. And these roles, they can get incredibly specific. Take a demand validation assistant, for example. Its sole job, its entire mission, is to review customer conversations, flag actual evidence of real demand, and recommend the next experiment. Now, notice what it's not doing. It is not cold emailing customers or making big business decisions on its own. The core principle here is simple. Always give your AI teammate a strictly defined role before you ever hand over the tools.
Moving right along to Section 2, Roles and Real Evidence. Now that our teammate has a solid role, we need to feed it the right information. That brings us to Layer 2.
You really need to ask yourself a critical question here. Are you feeding your AI mere activity or real evidence? You've got to answer this honestly to avoid a massive pitfall. Look, if you feed your AI your own opinions, your assumptions, or just vague memories of what you think happened this week, the AI is just going to echo those exact assumptions right back to you. It's a total echo chamber. You have to feed it hard facts.
Just listen to the massive difference in tone here. Saying, I talk to customers is merely an activity statement. It tells us absolutely nothing about the actual outcome. But saying, 5 customers described the exact same urgent problem, now that is an evidence-based statement. Your AI teammate's job is to help you separate what you believe from what the customer actually said or did. It's there to help you transform raw, vague activity into concrete evidence that genuinely drives your business forward. Okay, Section 3, Core Skills and Methods. Once we have real evidence, we enter Layer 3. This is where the AI applies proven business-building methods instead of just reacting to your random one-off prompts. Let's look at what we call the plain language bridge. This maps exactly how to translate what you intuitively want to achieve into specific repeatable skills like the Lean Stack or Lean Spark frameworks that your AI can execute flawlessly. So for example, if you want proof people want this, you deploy the demand validation skill. If you need a business model map, you run the Lean Canvas skill. You're actually training the AI to run a specific method, not just dish out generic advice. So instead of a weak prompt like, hey, is my idea good? You use a highly specific micro-narrative. You say, use the demand validation skill to separate evidence from assumptions and tell me what I still need to test. By evolving your prompt into this, your AI instantly shifts. It goes from being a passive chatbot giving you a generic pat on the back to a rigorous analytical teammate that's actively running an evidence-based method. It's a real game changer. Which brings us to Section 4, Guardrails, Audits, and Growth. With these powerful skills in play, we absolutely have to establish Layers 4 and 5 to protect your business. Least privilege access and human approval checkpoints. 0. That is the exact number of auto-publishing, money-moving, or independent action permissions you should give your AI without explicit founder approval. Period. Think about it. Just like you wouldn't give that brand new intern your bank passwords and the keys to the corporate Twitter account on day 1, you must practice least privilege access. Give the AI only what it absolutely needs to do its specific job. Maybe that's read-only access to a folder or draft-only permissions for emails. And before letting that AI take any high-impact action, you've got to run through a strict founder review checklist. Ask yourself, is this recommendation based on real evidence? Did it actually use the right skill? Wait, is there any sensitive data here? Do I fully understand its reasoning? The golden rule is this. AI should radically increase your capacity, but it must never remove your ultimate responsibility. You are the founder. You make the final call. Furthermore, you need Layer 6, an audit trail. If your AI teammate helped shape a big business decision, you need to seamlessly trace back exactly what info was used, what skill was applied, and what you ultimately approved. If an investor or a mentor asks why you pivoted, you can't just say, well, ChatGPT told me to. No way. You pull up this log and show them the exact hard customer evidence and the specific insights that drove your decision. All right, Section 5, the founder learning loop. All of these foundational layers we just covered, they culminate in Layer 7, which is continuous improvement. To truly scale yourself and your startup, you have to build a rhythm. You start with evidence. What did the customers actually say? Then you apply a skill. That skill generates an insight, which forces a decision. From there, you run an experiment. Based on that decision, you capture the learning, and finally, you update your models and assumptions. You need to run this loop over and over, every single week. It's the absolute engine of your growth.
Finally, section 6, reaching full AI maturity. So how exactly do we measure our progress as we build out this comprehensive 7-layer operating model? We look at the founder maturity letter. Look, most people are totally stuck at level 1. They're just using AI for quick answers or to draft a polite email. But our ultimate goal is to climb this ladder. We want to assign roles, define boundaries, and run those full learning loops until we reach level 7. At level 7, you've completely shifted from being an amateur AI user to becoming a true AI system founder, equipped with a repeatable system that your entire team can plug into. I want you to literally burn this mantra into your mind. The founder who wins will not be the one who tries the most AI tools, but the one who builds the clearest learning system. Your success absolutely does not rely on having the newest, flashy app. It relies entirely on leveraging AI teammates to move from evidence to insight, insight to action, and action to validated learning. That's the whole shebang. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final vital question. Are you just trying out more AI tools, constantly chasing the next shiny object? Or are you putting in the real work to build a clear, 7-layer learning system? Honestly, the answer to that question is going to fundamentally dictate how your startup operates tomorrow and whether you truly leverage the massive power of an AI teammate. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll leave you to think on that.
Right, that was pretty pretty neat. I hope that had some provided some clarity for you on the AI stuff. I'll flip through some slides here just to kind of so you can visualize it from the slide perspective. I won't take too much more time. It's been a long day. So and looking forward to the weekend. Plan on enjoying some jazz on Saturday night. So definitely looking forward to that. So this is the accompanying slide deck for that, and I'll just skim through it just so you talking about this evidence operating model, and so AI tools now the new way AI operating system. So and then it's these 7 layers, and you can see level 1's role, evidence, skills, and yeah. And just to think, you would think that using AI is going to make things so much more easier and it is, but you still have to do all that monitoring and management. And just like, for example, these skills, and I talked about this a couple of times. So this company called, and I haven't tried it yet, but I need to try it. But this, you can do a virtual company with paper.ing, I believe is what the name of the website is. But anyway, all the employees have skills, they're virtual employees, and so you can literally let the AI run the whole company. So that's hard to imagine. But then the other one, and I apologize, I don't remember the name, but it's a company that monitors, their software monitors your agent skills. So like to see if they're if they're having some issues or not. So it's just like a personnel department. You got this virtual employee, and now you got this organization that keeps track of how well they're performing. So that's what we're getting through here. So that's what this weekly rhythm here. You tracking what you learn, you building the evidence log, and you updating everything each week. And so that's then this is talking a little bit about the different roles of the AI skills. Yeah, but just remember, you have to keep monitoring these things all the time, and so so you got this. So by running these skills, you're literally got a control situation, and so like you're going from activity type things to actual stuff to refine evidence. Yeah. So you can This plain language business model map, why customer switch. Yeah, and I was talking about this as part of the demand validation. So talking about the customer forces that causes somebody, to switch. And like I said, if you don't do the demand validation, you're not going to have the customer forces to design your landing pages, marketing campaign, and stuff like that. And I think Ash was doing some landing page stuff today. I got to go back and look at the video. Proof people want it, so that's the demand validation skill. But remember, there are 9 questions that you have to ask based on what you're building in order to generate those customer forces. And so you ask these 9 questions, put them in the customer forces AI, and all it is you're going from questions to customer forces to job to be done. So you're just doing mappings. That's what AI is. That's a mapping machines. And so, so you can't just prompt, in a vacuum. You have to prompt within a framework, and that's what the lean stack is, a framework. Okay, least privileges access. So that's just making sure you got those guardrails in there. So, and if you want a copy of this thing, just let me know, and I'll make sure you get a copy of it. Just documentation. So the human, it has to be in the loop, and this is nothing new. We worked on autonomous weapons when I worked for the Air Force Research Lab. But we always wanted a human in the loop. So yeah, it's you got your little checklist there, and you want to do this audit trails. I was reading something about IP, maybe it was this morning or something, and this learning log and keeping track of it, all of this stuff. This is exactly what you need in order to defend your IP as well. So that's based on some information from the patent office. And so Ash calls this platform, Lean Stack platform, a continuous innovation. And that's what you just keep going in the loop. Yeah, and so that's what this is basically trying to show. Engine in motion, the founder learning, evidence, skills, insights, decisions, experiments, learning, and update, your evidence. And so, yeah, so it's pretty neat. So one thing, with all this AI stuff, we were fortunate to discover Lanika's method of prompting, and so I combine it with my method of prompting, and so it's the simplest thing I would tell people. And I did several shows on this in the past, so if you go back and look at some of those videos, but it literally stops the AI from lying to you. And so I went from this is kind of just to show you how I used to have the AI to help me learn faster, help me think, learn, analyze my thinking. But anyway, so I went from this idea of getting the key takeaways of transcripts, articles, videos, research papers. It's the same pattern. What are the key takeaways? What are the insights, and what are the actions from those insights? But when I, combine that with the Lanika method of prompting, it literally analyzed and found the patterns and the hidden patterns that are in there. So So we integrate this Lanika framework into almost everything we do, and so now I call it a Lanika system, and so it's pretty amazing to get to stop the AI from lying to you. it's yeah, and having to know what to do next, and that's why, if you see that pattern, it always suggests some next steps to do. So if you haven't created your Lanika prompt, you're missing out on what AI is really all about. All it does is this: it understands your pattern of thinking, and it filters information based on what you're looking for, and so it extracts all the hidden patterns and everything. Everything is a pattern. So, and that's what the AI is good at. All right. I appreciate y'all hanging in here with me tonight. It's been a long day, and I hope this information was helpful to you. And one of the habits that I always recommend people do, if you can watch and look, but the AI can find way more stuff than a human can. So if you go to YouTube on your computer, open up the transcript, highlight it, paste it in ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and run your Lanika prompt, you'll find all the patterns and the hidden patterns based on what your startup is all about, or based on what your interest is, and that's what the deal is there. And so it's a lot of fun. So appreciate you all hanging in there with me. Take care and have a beautiful weekend. Stay cool, stay dry, and appreciate you all for everything already. Bye-bye.